Hello, Mr. Penkert.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, guten Tag.
We are in the same city, believe it or not.
I know this hasn't happened. I'm trying to remember the last time I was in Berlin, did we do an episode? Or I don't think so. I think that
Yeah,
was during the summer break, right? We didn't do an episode.
not entirely sure, but what we forgot last time you were here, I know it was a short time window, to meet with Brianna.
Right, yeah. We have other former STX alumni that we could connect with.
Exactly.
Yeah, to make that happen. Hi, Brianna, if you're watching, please drop us a line. Let's grab a drink.
And again, before we start, we had two shows after the summer break, and we had a combined amount of 0 comments in the chat while we
Come
speak.
on. Come on, guys.
I almost think that the chat function is broken. Remember, the one time I tried to send something myself to say hi to you, but it didn't pop
Ah,
up.
right.
So yeah, it could be the
Let's
tech.
let's test it. Let's test this. Somewhere LinkedIn would have told me, yeah, LinkedIn's telling me that we're online.
Yes. Send a
Okay.
message. Whoever is
Who?
watching to LinkedIn, send us a message, please. I think this is how it works, right? You go to LinkedIn, you go to the stream.
Yeah, I
Oh,
can see it. Yeah.
maybe it doesn't work because this account is connected to my LinkedIn account, and I
Maybe, but
cannot add to my own chat, or I don't know, whatever.
yeah, we're not doing ourselves any favors, Ben. We're not
Yeah.
doing ourselves any favors right now. Yeah, whoever else is watching, please drop us in line. Tell us, say hi. Tell us where you are. Because I have to say, I had the travel experience from hell landing in Berlin. I was at the airport. I left the airport almost 3.5, no, almost 3.5 hours after I landed, which was, yeah, it was just an insane time. So hopefully not too many people are having nightmares in Berlin airport. I don't know who Heel or Hello is. Fern
Oh,
from
Fern, hi.
HIT. Nice, nice. Keep those messages coming in, guys. All right.
Good to
We've
see
got an
you.
audience now. Ben, should we kick off?
No, I wanted to take a second to guess with you because Fern says had impact trauma.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I assume she's in sport without checking it, and there was a news that almost made it into this week's show.
Hmm.
I've seen it somewhere that for the World Cup this year in Qatar, every head injury will be checked on whether or not it's a concussion with a certain tech solution. I
Oh,
didn't put it in our document. I don't even know why, but maybe Fern knows about it or is interested to hear that news. I don't know.
yeah.
Maybe while you're
Sounds
talking,
interesting.
maybe I can check it and we'll
Yeah,
throw it
not a
in.
bad shout. Why don't I kick it off, Fern? Ben is on it. Let's see if we can find an interesting story for you. All right. As always, we go through our top 5 stories of the week, starting with the funding rounds that we've seen in sports tech. Not too much this week, which is also not too bad. We'll start Beachbody, a company that, well, at least familiar to us because they went public in 2021, in January of 2021, through a SPAC, special purpose acquisition company, which was like all the rage back then. Since then, they have not had a very good time. The trading price now is down 90% from what it listed. They listed at about $10,000, somewhere around that number. Now they're trading at about $1,300. So the company is not in great shape in general, but they did manage to get some money. I'm looking for the line, which is right here, which is there is been a cash infusion. Yeah, Blue Torch Capital to provide 50 million in debt financing. It seems like they're going to raise some money. What they're going to do with it, we shall see. Beachbody has got some cash. Anybody who's maybe they owe you money or something, you'll probably get it. Another story from another startup from India, which is an esports company. We're seeing a lot of startups, but esports startups from India raise money. This is a small round, an early seed round, 100K, which is to Esports Daily India, which is basically an esports news website. Sequoia has read this, well, let's say very early stage round, which is quite surprising. Sequoia investing only 100K, but they have other investors, Kalari, who were one of the first investors in Dream 11, which is a stalwart in the Indian sports tech ecosystem. That's number two. And number three is the Dutch Sports Tech Fund, which is a new fund that I think was launched last year. We've had them in some of our content. They invested, surprise, surprise, in a biking or cycle-related startup called LinkMyRide. Of course, the Dutch famous their bicycles. For anybody who's been anywhere around, those bike parking lots itself are a wonder. But yeah, this is an investment in LinkMyRide by Dutch Sport Tech Fund. LinkMyRide is basically connecting like a peer-to-peer group kind of thing. So helping you find other people who bike around you and finding good routes, finding places like stuff like that.
Ron,
those are my three funding.
Your sound quality is really bad.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. You couldn't hear me.
No, I could hear you, but it's I don't know. Some scratching is happening all the time.
Oh, must have been rubbing my shirt. Sorry, my bad. Is this better now?
No, it's still there. It's I don't know. It's probably the tech thing.
Yeah. Is this no? Let me lose. Is this better?
This is horrible now. Now we don't hear at all. Maybe you can rejoin. In the meantime, while Ron is off, hi there. Fern, I found the article and the news. So I'll just throw it in here. Wait a sec. Yeah, it was not really part of our show, but I remember that I was coming across it. It's from August 16th, so it's 2 days old. Apparently, as you can read in the headline, FIFA is using some Australian tech to monitor concussions. Let me just check if we find the name of the company. Yeah, here, Neuroflex, I guess. Let me just check. Yeah, here. So yeah, it seems like the tech has been tested in Super Rugby, the SANFL, and last year's FIFA Arab Cup. So it will help doctors to determine how quickly a player is able to return to the field. And if it's a bad kind of concussion, I guess then they will not return, obviously. Ron, you're back. Speak to us. Oh, no, he's not back. All right, I'm going to continue. So yeah, just that's for you, Fern. You'll find it in the Sydney Morning Herald, in case you are interested. All right, then I would say I go back to what I actually wanted to talk about. Oh, hi, Jose. Golasso training. Yeah, little shill here. That's all right. That's all right. Yeah, we wanted to talk about NFTs for a little bit. And I mean, we found two news, both about NFT Tech. Maybe you remember NFT Tech. They recently won the, what is it called? Oh, Ron is back.
Hopefully, Ben, can you hear me okay now?
Yes, loud and clear. That's much better.
There we go. Sorry about that.
No worries. Now it's cool. So we're talking about NFTs. We have two news about NFT Tech. And they recently won the Cannes Lion Award because they had this amazing collaboration with the Australian Open. And it seems like they're not stopping there, and maybe the award has a positive effect on them. They have two new partnerships. I'm especially curious about what do you think about the first one, because I think it's pretty vague, but when I read the headline, I was like, oh, that's interesting. So they partner with Hawkeye Innovation, and you remember Hawkeye mostly from a goal line technology from football, I would assume. But I mean, what they actually do, what's at the core of what they stand for, is tons of data that they capture optically from whichever game they're tracking. And that data they want to bring into the NFT space, whatever that will look like, because the press release didn't really say so. I would assume they create some sort of dynamic NFTs. It's something we hear about more and more. So not a static one that is minted at some point that never changes, but it's more one that you might see, for example, in fantasy sports that changes throughout the season, where stats are gonna be embedded. So I would assume that Hawkeye is delivering data, I don't know, maybe real time, maybe near time, I don't know, or maybe even after the game, I don't know. And your NFT, in whichever way that is used, gets updated continuously. That is the one news. And the other one, which also was kept really vague, is, and I would also like to see where this goes because I've been playing table tennis in my life quite a bit. So they have a deal with the World Table Tennis, what's it called, Association? Or no, it's just called World Table Tennis. And what they say, what they're gonna do is, where is that article? Da, 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 da. Yeah, just broadly saying create greater fan engagement, multifaceted experiences, play to earn, blah, blah, blah. So a bunch of buzzwords without really stating what it is. But I haven't seen any NFTs in table tennis. So I think there's a broad range from player cards, highlight clips, fantasy sports, whatnot. I don't know. Long story short, NFT Tech is legit. They are striking more and more partnerships with interesting partners. I mean, Hawkeye, crazy good data. World Table Tennis, important federation. Let's see how that goes. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the use cases are interesting. As you said, they've kept it super vague for now. I think it's more like, I'm curious. I mean, yeah, their core tech, the NFT tech, the company has done some great work. Obviously, the Australian Open is one of our favorite projects that we've seen. My curiosity is more about what next, especially around NFT related gaming. I think that's one big area that a lot of rights holders are looking at, whether it's leagues, teams, etc. Like beyond fantasy, what kind of gaming or interaction can NFTs bring? It's almost like we're waiting for the next evolution in the NFT cycle about what core utility is going to be like. Yeah, I'm curious to see whether any of these projects will bring something new out.
Agreed. And now, with the full beauty of your voice, share the
Again,
next news with us.
very, very kind, very kind. Hopefully, my voice was not particularly robotic, but we do have a robot that now, which is a um, as you can see, a
Your voice is bad again. I think.
is the right phrase. Oh my God! So
Maybe
you can't
it's
hear
like,
me at all.
I don't know. I think it's because of the you being in the co-working space. If you
I
stream the
guess
video,
yeah, probably. If my voice sounds like crap, let me know. I'll have to try. This is so good. Using the same stuff that I always use. But anyway, I'll try to get through the story quickly, then Ben, you can comment on it. So as you can see from the screen, the video playing, which is an old quarterback machine that used to have, where to launch a ball out, which is called the jugs machine. This thing, it's a product from Monarch Sports, is a jugs machine on steroids, right?
Adrian
That's what it's called.
his own
Basically, all sorts of settings, and do all sorts of calibration on that machine. I think Ben is sharing the video again. Let's see, that's behind. Yeah, maybe. There we go. I don't know if that helps. Hopefully that takes the load off my voice. Anyway, so the machine is a much better version of, now, did it improve? Not so much. It's a much better version of the QB throwing device, QB ball throwing device, and you can calibrate it for all sorts of parameters, all sorts of directions. The spin is loaded on the ball, etc. So the Green Bay Packers are the first team to test it, first NFL team to test it. There have been some collaborations, primarily around college football. This product has been around for 2 years now, in end of 2019, early 2020. There have been a few college programs that have been using this device, but this is the first NFL team to do it, apparently. So, yeah, more automation, robotics coming into sports.
yeah. Now your voice was better. I think it's when you are in the co-working space and sharing a video and speaking at the same time. I think
Yeah,
the stream is not so good.
I guess so. Maybe I'll have to stop
Yeah,
doing that one.
but I think the tech is really cool. I mean, being able to do all those simulations, have these presets, this allows for really good preparation. I mean, that is amazing, and it also looks cool. You know, often you have those machines that look a bit clunky and I don't know, a bit weird. You see cables everywhere, but this is also like a decent looking machine. So yeah, pretty cool. I'm not entirely sure. Did you mention the price point? Did they share it somewhere? I imagine it being really, really expensive.
No, I don't see price point anymore. Like if you go to the video of the company, which is what I was going to bring up, but yeah, there's nothing mentioned over there. It's all get in touch. I think these are bespoke products, but you can apparently buy them for yourself. There have been stories of especially college athletes who've used this as training devices to improve their chances of getting recruited. So I'm sure it's happening at across levels. So you can buy this. Not you don't have to be a team. You can buy it as an individual as well. No price mentioned on the website. Just says get in touch. So if you're interested, monarchsport.com, MONARC sport.com. Nice little plug for them.
Yeah, decent looking machine. I'm impressed.
Yeah, exactly.
It would be fun to test it, by the way. All right. Now we're talking about a company that we often feature in our show, and I have to say they keep confusing me. That's my my outcome before I share any details with you. So we have 3 articles about Peloton. That's the company that we're talking about, and I maybe you understand what's happening. I was confused at times. So what is the fact is they're cutting 800 jobs. That's probably not a good sign. On the other hand, I mean, what then try to do is become profitable again. That's the big issue, right? And they have a bunch of some more and some less interesting measures for that. In this article, it says they're raising prices, right? And to be precise, they say the cost of the Bike Plus is increasing by 500 to 2,500 US dollar. Treadmill will jump 800 US dollar to 3,500. And then we found a different article. Let me just check. Here it is. In Fit Insider, that one says they are rethinking their price point.
All right.
And
But Ben,
it says,
the Fit Insider article is an old one. That's from May. I just wanted to show that so
oh,
the fitness as a service, let's say, plan that the investors have, the one at the top.
okay. I
Yeah.
didn't check the date
So
because I was
basically,
confused because their
but it
prices are going down.
yeah, but it is confusing because they slashed their prices about 4 or 5 months ago, and now they're rising them back up. And now there's one more part of the story, which is they're changing the delivery model, which
Yeah,
is
this is this article I think you're referring to,
yeah.
right? So 2 things are interesting. So, I mean, we don't have to go much past the headline. So they're going IKEA. Let's put it that way. So they're introducing a do-it-yourself option, which let's decrease the shipping costs because then they don't have to, I think, do it themselves anymore, but they can just ship it to you and outsource it with whoever the delivery partner is, which then cuts a few costs for them. The question is if you, as a customer, are amused by the fact that prices go up, but as a reward, you have to assemble it yourself. So I don't know. I mean, you really have to love the brand or really want to do this in order to find this good, I think. And we know where they're coming from. They're struggling. All of that is known. They have to do something. But I, as a customer, I would not enjoy this so much. What do you think?
Yeah, especially when you know that this is a company that's not doing so well, and the product was available maybe 6 months ago or a year ago for like $1,000 less, and now you get it. Yet, like maybe your neighbor has had it for so long, and you were saving up money. Probably not. being a dramatic story now, but you're saving up money to try to buy this device, and now you buy it later, and now you have to make it yourself. Even like this is not a good buying experience, and everybody bought it like at a much cheaper price, and obviously came delivered. But the bigger point is that this is part of Peloton's strategy to focus more on the software rather than the hardware, which is an interesting decoupling. They had changed the market in a lot of ways, and we have to give them credit for that, for being the guys that made connected fitness about hardware. Right? You get these beautiful devices, much like Apple, I guess, in those ways. They changed the format, they made it about hardware. Buy this beautiful piece of equipment, put it in your living room. There was Instagram pages about Peloton devices in your living room and stuff. And now they're saying, hey, the hardware is not so important. It's just an access point. You guys figure out the hardware stuff, but it's our software, the training videos, the community connections. All of that is the key. So
Question.
big pivot, whether it's good or not. Yeah. What's the question?
Because sometimes the news is not having news as well. And connected to what you just said, I mean, we had lots of rumors about who is going to buy Peloton.
Yep.
And it was the typical tech companies. It was Apple, it was Google, was whoever. And the question always was, or some articles said that it's probably not so interesting for them to go into the hardware business and being more software oriented. Do you think that shift in thinking brings them closer to an acquisition or further away?
I
Because
think
then they're not so complementary anymore.
I think I think that's a spot on observation. I think that it's the first thing you do when you're trying to sell. You want to make yourself asset light, right? You don't want the acquirer to be loaded up with a big, heavy, expensive part of the business, right? So you want to compartmentalize the business, try to push off things off your balance sheet, because who wants to be sitting on that kind of inventory, and who wants to? I mean, this is about structuring deals. But yeah, absolutely. If they want to make themselves profitable, is by it's two parts. A, to make themselves profitable, they have to get rid of this asset, and by getting rid of this asset, the big fixed costs, they become more attractive to a potential buyer. So it has a dual benefit. And yeah, it seems that this is the way Peloton will go. There was a line in the article which said, quoted the CEO, has said that right now, cash is oxygen and oxygen is life. That's how Peloton needs to operate. They're like scrambling around to save every dollar, to get every dollar they can, because they're battling for their lives. This is survival for them. And maybe there are some big names, big sharks swimming in the waters.
How do you come from big sharks in the water to the final topic of the day?
Well, I mean, how much bigger did they get than Google? Ben, if you can load up the story, because I don't take a chance on my share screen again. But yeah, maybe
Oh,
one of these,
yeah,
yeah,
let
one
me
of
just.
these guys could be Google. And Google, apparently, as we saw Apple do a few months ago, I think this is more than 6 months ago, when Apple launched their fitness offering, and they connected it to Apple TV. So you had Apple Plus, which is of course connected to your watch and all your Apple devices, and then yeah, you can buy a wired subscription for just $10, in case anybody was wondering. Um, but it was basically creating this connected fitness ecosystem. Google is talking about doing that as well. Google has an Android OS which is loaded on multiple TVs. They have their own smart TV, of course. They have a Fitbit device, which is the wearable. They have different types of wearables. I mean, the Google device slash OS ecosystem is is a much wider, because it goes to Samsung devices, the Gear OS, etc. So that's what Google is planning to do. They're investing in fitness. They're talking about bringing fitness videos, routines, etc., the same way that you have on your mobile device, to your smart TV, to your Google smart TV. Now, again, if they're looking for a catalog of software, I mean, the article is just as conjecture. Apparently, there's been a plan in the works for more than 18 months that Google has been planning on launching this. There'll be more to come. But the main part of the story is, as we said from the lead-in, somebody is out there in the market, and Google's name hasn't been mentioned before in connection to Peloton. But maybe these are the guys, because Google does a bit of both. They understand hardware as well, but they understand distributed hardware, not just their own. They work in different models with hardware, and they understand software better than probably most. So maybe this is the match made in heaven.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you see a connection? Would it make you buy a Peloton device more if you saw maybe an Apple or a Google or somebody like that coming to the frame?
But good question. I don't know. No, I think if I would have liked to have
Yeah.
Peloton, I would already have done it.
Yeah.
But to the Google speculation, I mean, what they've been good in is being the guys who run the operating system, right? I mean, you've seen that with Android, with smartphones, and I would assume the step that you just described is something similar. And maybe it's rather them competing with Peloton, being the software guys that are attached to your smart TV, and it doesn't really matter which device you're using.
True.
The question is how much would a Peloton want to open up to other devices that are not theirs? That's probably the question. So right now, Peloton is more does it more the Apple way. They stay within their um, hardware products, and that's pretty much contrary to what Google does. So I mean, who am I to judge this? But I see Peloton closer to Apple than to Google right now.
Yeah, it's an interesting debate. By the way, Peloton also announced, we didn't mention this in the previous story, but I read an article, I think a couple of weeks ago, the Peloton's getting closer to announcing their rower as well, which should be out somewhere in the autumn this year. Um, I mean, this has been a rower that's been in the works for over a year, I think, since Hydro and Regatta and all these guys were been out there raising big money. Peloton's rower has been coming for a long time. Apparently, we're finally there. So they're launching a new hardware device while cutting costs, while doing like it's man, that company is a bit all over the place.
I think the rower is more underwater than on top of the water,
Yeah,
unfortunately. So I don't know.
maybe,
That's a bad joke.
maybe, yeah, it was all right. I'll give you that one. I'll give you
All right, for German. Yeah. A, that is all the news we have for this week. B, I don't remember the last time when we stayed clearly under half an hour.
That is true. I think my connection issues did not help. Sorry about that, guys. For everybody who was bothered by my audio problems, yeah, maybe it's the internet connection in my co-working space, which is not so good. But that said, we are. That's another episode done. Ben, anything else that you want to chat about?
No, I just wanted to check if you had the same observation that I had this week. That let's say the news landscape is a bit slow, a bit low at the moment. I think lots of people are still on summer holidays. Typically, August and also July are pretty low in news. Even though the last weeks didn't feel like it somehow. But this week, also in the NFT space, wasn't much. I didn't even send out the Nifty Sports newsletter because there was basically two news and not so spectacular.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Let's see. I mean, the last couple of weeks have been interesting. This week was definitely super slow. Maybe next week we'll make up for it. Maybe it'll be another slow week. Stay tuned to find out.
All right, adios.